Chores and sweep through the floors of Ocean wax, do laundry and mop and shine. Sweep again and find then it's like 7:15 and so I'll or maybe
Go away. Okay, awesome. Yay. So I think we had enough of that one, but I think that song was perfect for what we are doing today. So this is day 3. So thank you guys for hanging in with me. And this is our rewriting our story day. So we've done out of our inner reclaiming our inner child stuff. This is our now happily ever now. We're building our new legacy. So day 1, we reconnected with our child. Day 2, we did some breaking of the spells and clearing out all the bad whatever with our different exercises, our burn paper, our trash can exercise, our armor exercise, and I really like the armor one. I'm going to keep doing that one. And hopefully you spent yesterday also to not just clearing out the old, but really thinking about that one small change that you are going to make. So hold on to that because now we're going to build on that for sure. So the whole point of all of this is building a new legacy. And it's not just about healing the things that we've gone through and being at peace. I mean, that's great, but we want to thrive. Like we want to do just better than just okay. Um, and there's definitely ways to have that here. This was distracting me. Okay. To have that no bubbles go away. Okay. To have that sustainable plan for a continued growth. Like this is a great starting point, like by reconnecting with your inner child, doing the work and building the foundation again so that you can come back to this and just rinse and repeat as much as you need to. So my story on the other side of healing, I will not sit here and tell you that I have it all figured out because I don't. I mean, I know I shared in day 1 that, hey, 6 years out of going no contact with my father and going through, the few pictures that I do have of my childhood, like it was tough. And, and I shed a few tears, not gonna lie. But the me of, let's say, 3 years ago, going through that photo album would have been bawling in a corner and honestly pissed off for days. So it's progress. It's not that those wounds are never going to not hurt, because I don't think that's a realistic goal to have. And I think that's toxic positivity, which I am definitely not a fan of. That constant just pushing through and pretending and putting on the good front. I mean, that's what we did when we were kids, when things weren't going bad and the adults weren't behaving the way that they should have. It was that toxic positivity, or if somebody asked you if you were okay, you knew the only acceptable answer was, no, everything's great, or I'm good, don't worry about it. And I really want you to check in with yourself and ask, no, like, how are you really? Because that's constantly taking that baseline measurement. And one, it'll check yourself to make sure you're not lying to yourself as well as not lying to others. Um, so what has healing looked like for me on this side? Again, me being 6 years out, I've done things that I never thought I would be capable of doing. Like I was able to lose the weight in the pictures that I showed from the first day. Like I'm pretty much unrecognizable from what people have told me. I've literally had people not recognize me from my past. Um, and just a confidence wise, like running for school board, again, being on the school board was not on my bingo card, not something that I would do. Even the simple thing of being able to tell my story without crying or being overly angry, like that's a huge accomplishment, and being able to tell it over and over again in order to do this work that I'm doing. Um, and I think for me, the biggest win, because I have 4 children, is stopping again. That's literally why I started to make this transformation. Um, it needed to stop with me. And they're going to have a childhood and opportunities that I would have never dreamed of. If you would have told me 20 years ago that I would live in the home that I do, that I would have taken my children to Disney World multiple times, um, that we just ate family dinners together every night and were able to talk about our days in a non-confrontational way, that narrative didn't exist for me, where now it does. So hopefully the ripple effect of all of that is in turn, they will grow up hopefully a better, I mean, I'm not a perfect parent for sure, but the ripple effect will be they can go on and live better lives than I will, because that's all I want. I want them to do better and be better than me and go out into the world and be their authentic self. The person that I am now, they are at their ages. So when they're my age, hopefully, like I said, I have one 13-year-old daughter who wants to go to law school and sit on the Supreme Court. And I want that for her. And even if she doesn't make it all the way to Supreme Court, I guarantee this child is going to change lives. And that never would have happened if I had not done the healing work previously. Um, so today is really focusing on that happily ever now, that building that new legacy, whether you're a parent, whether you're not a parent, you are a role model in somebody's lives. And I think it's really important just to do that healing work because your energy, your vibe, your faith, whatever it is you rely on, that affects everyone around you. So if you're a healed person, again, whatever space you hold, that space encompasses the people that you surround yourself with. And they always say if you want to be a millionaire, hang around with other millionaires, right? So you want to level up so the people around you also can level up. Again, it's that ripple effect. Um, so today, this would be the what I would call the rebuild from my own WIT method. I say whatever it takes for me to get you to from point A to point B. But rebuild because now that we've reconnected with what we lost our innocence and all those things. We've broken the spell of that narrative in day two. Now it's rebuilding. It's like, okay, you can't clear out the negativity without putting something good in its place because if you leave that hole, the negativity is just going to come back. So you really need to create that new narrative for sure. And that's some of the work that I never did initially. I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep clearing things out and I'm good. And then I found myself repeating those same patterns over and over again. And I'm like, but wait a minute, I thought I dealt with this. Why are we going back to this previous point? And it's because I didn't fill it with something that would fill me up. And the work that I've done now in the past 5 years and continue to do, this is what's filling me up right now. Um, so I do have, again, a few exercises to kind of go along with this. One of them is the future snapshot. So again, this is a visualization piece. You want to close your eyes, sit, think, and again, not something you need to do now. Pause the video if you're watching this on replay, or just kind of jot this down to do later. So, and it doesn't require anything. I mean, some people call this doing their vision board. A lot of people, vision boards are popular in January to go through the year with, but I think this is something that you could do at any time and it doesn't require all the craft supplies. I mean, I know you can do digital vision boards now and all that, but it's literally just sitting in silence with yourself and seeing where you want to be. Whether it's 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, take it in multiple steps, even if it's just what you want your life to look like next week. I mean, if you're living in that time where you're just having to take smaller chunks of time out, that is okay. Um, and you sit and you think, and my snapshot tends to change. I mean, I'll sit and think about this every few months, and it changes because you might be looking at where you want to be personally, where you want to be professionally, relationship wise, and all those things are different. But again, thinking bigger picture. So just imagine that, it's a year from now. You've done the work, you've set the boundaries, you've broken these patterns and reconnected with your inner child. Your life is lighter, you're freer, and you're more aligned than ever before. And what does that look like for you? If I did that exercise right now, a year from now, again, continuing the work that I've already done, a year from now, I expect that I will be sharing my story globally, if I can. Like, I want to be speaking on stages. I want to be speaking in correctional facilities. I want to be speaking in juvenile detention centers because I want to change the world. And I believe that it starts with our youth. And that is something that is a huge goal of mine. And as I continue to do my work, I think it'll be easier for me to connect with those audiences. So that is a little sneak peek into how my brain works. So as you're looking at this future life, where are you? Who's with you? What does your day look like? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? So I know my vision was very, very broad, but it could be simple as, you get up in the morning, you have your cup of coffee, and your mind is not racing with all those thoughts or the phone call you had with the difficult parent, partner, or whatever the night before. It could be something as simple as that. Who do you want in your life? If you've only called in bad relationships, a year from now, maybe you want to be in a more positive relationship. Think about not just what things look like, but what it feels like. Um, what would your future self wear? What would they say? How would they carry themselves? Because that's the person that you want to call into existence. So now you see this life, you see where you're at, who you're with, what you're doing. Take, your little mental picture of it, like a Polaroid, even though I'm sure people of a certain age may not know what a Polaroid is anymore, but we're not going to talk about that. But again, what colors do you see? What expressions are on the faces? What details stand out? Like, what is the big thing that you see when you're looking at that snapshot? Think about like when you're a child and there's that snapshot when people are blowing out the candles of the cake, right? And you catch, somebody with their cheeks puffed out. There's always the person behind them clap. Like there's a certain like vibe that always goes with these kind of snapshots. So think about that snapshot moment and what details would stand out to you the most. And if your future self could say one thing to you right now, what would it be? Now, if I'm looking ahead to my future self and she would tell me something, she would probably tell me, keep going because your story matters and there's value here and you're going to change the world. And, you know, 5 years ago, I could not envision my future self saying that to me, but now I'm in a place where that definitely is possible. And again, it doesn't need to be something as big. It could be, hey, you made it through another day. Good for you. And that's it. So now that we've visualized it, we've examined it, you want to put it into words. I mean, when I studied in college, I mean, I did so much better when I wrote out my notes because it was reading the information and it was writing it down. And I think it's just the multiple levels of just committing it into those brain, your pathways and changing those things. Obviously, you can tell I'm very excited. I'm trying to sit on my hands again. But you definitely want to capture this in words. So, you grab your piece of paper, write down everything you can remember from that snapshot. It could be, again, what you saw, what you felt, what you smelled, what you tasted. Involve all the five senses because I think that makes that vision that much more real. The same way, the five senses when you're telling a story or even when you're trying to calm down an anxiety attack, your five senses, there's so much into play in that. So we've now set the scene. We have our snapshot. We've written it out. Now it's time to anchor that vision into your reality. So you need to write one sentence, just one that you can come back to. I am ready to, that connects who you are today with that picture of who you're going to be in a year. So it could be, I am ready to create this life by setting healthy boundaries, or I am ready to step into my worth every single day. Or it could just be as simple as I am ready to be kind to myself every single day and appreciate how far I've come. It does not have to be a big grand thing. And honestly, being kind to yourself every day is what you deserve and should be doing anyways. Um, and if you're comfortable sharing, like I said, if you're here live, you're watching the replay, feel free to let me know what that future self looks like for you. And everybody's story is going to be different. Like I said, everybody has different goals. I mean, there are people who aspire to, I want to change the world, and there's some people who just want to raise good human beings, which I also want to do too. But, these are, this is an impactful exercise because, one, like I said, I love vision boards, but it's messy and I have kids and then all the art supplies and it turns into a big old mess. So for me, we don't need supplies. It's something you can just do. This is personal to you. There's definitely templates, of course, but your mind is your template that you're going to use. Um, and it's personal to you. And I think by committing that I am ready to, again, you've set the scene, you've done the work, and now you have your action step to move forward. And this is where we're going to our next level selves. So you've got this clear image, you've got your mantra affirmation or just your vision statement, however you want to look at it. And this should I hope, gives you a sense of possibility and motivation, knowing that you've seen it in your head and it's yours for the taking for sure. Um, and before we wrap up today, I just want to say, take a picture of the sentence, write it somewhere you're going to see it every day. I'm a big fan of post-it notes on my mirror in the bathroom as I'm brushing my teeth. It's there. It's something that needs to be visible. Or, sometimes I've even screenshotted things and it's my wallpaper on my phone. Right now, my wallpaper is my kids, but again, my kids are my why. So, of course, they're always on my wallpaper on my phone. Um, because you don't want the work, you spent the time sitting through this presentation, and I'm very grateful for that. But like I said yesterday, knowledge is not power without application. You can take in all the information, but if you don't act on it, you're sitting on a gift that you haven't unwrapped yet. I mean, that's the only way that I can put it. So it's definitely a motivation to do more, be more, and be better. Um, so if all of this felt, it resonated with you, it felt powerful, it felt like something you would want more of, this is just a start. Again, I'm still in my own journey. I'm a little bit further ahead, but it's a work in progress. It's a good foundation. And this type of work takes time, support, and sometimes, someone who's been there like me to guide you. So if you're ready to take this deeper, I am surely here from you. Um, And of course, I mentioned it previously that I was going to be launching an 8-week program. So it's breaking free from toxic cycles in 8 weeks. Whether it's from a narcissist, whether it's from a previous relationship, I think these lessons are applicable to everything. Um, and of course, and I did not do this intentionally when I started writing out my program, but I noticed that a lot of the wording that I was using it was re something, like, and I always say, like, you can't get a do-over. You can't go back and relive your childhood, but you can reparent yourself and be kinder to yourself and allow yourself that space to heal, which is why it was Disney themed. And it clicked for me, going to Disney and realizing the freedom that I felt being at Disney was me reclaiming some of that childhood that I didn't have. And again, it doesn't need to be an extravagant vacation. It could be something as simple as turning the sprinkler on in your backyard and letting yourself run around in the hose. I mean, those are the core memories that children they gravitate towards in times of stress. Um, so again, it's my job to do whatever it takes to get you to this breaking free cycle for sure. So it's a lot of realization work, seeing what you need to do to break the cycle and recognize those triggers that are going to keep you from moving forward. It's the redesign, right? You got to set boundaries, going no contact. You're designing your new life. So you're in redesign stage. You're going to reclaim that for yourself, whether it's your self-worth, whether it's your parenting, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your own identity. You are reclaiming the narrative away from what was taken from you. And then reconnecting, because I found when I took this step professionally, personally, there was people who were in my life who did not make it on to this next phase. Um, there was reconnecting that I needed to do with my partner because I am not the same woman that he married. And that took, I healed throughout our marriage, and I'm very grateful that he's stuck around through this journey because I was a very, very broken person when we met. Truly a broken person. I had probably hit rock bottom when we met. Um, and he married me anyways, and he stuck around. So I don't know. I don't know what that says about either one of us, but for sure. And then there's the rebuild, right? So we're creating that legacy of freedom instead of dysfunction. And for so many years, you've either been the caretaker, the fixer, the good girl or guy, perfectionist, all of those labels. And I think it's just time to break free of that. I mean, that's why I call myself Becky the Cycle Breaker for sure. Um, so I won't pitch you anymore, but that is my program. And I'm hoping that everybody, you know, if you're ready to talk, I'm absolutely here. I do have a link that I will drop that you can always hop on a call with me. That's 30 minutes free consultation, no problem there. Um, and if you want to discuss the phone call further or the program further, absolutely. And I'm always a DM email away for sure. Um, and I know for this round of what I'm doing, I'm opening it only exclusively to participants first of the event, and then to just people who are, in my little circle and in my email list. I'm not gonna broadcast this for the first round to the whole wide world, because I want to keep it a very small group. And I know a lot of people might feel intimidated by sharing their stories in a group setting. And I did that intentionally because the more people that I've talked to, they've had these stories were like, yeah, me too, right? And we've all heard of the Me Too movement. Everybody always thinks it's only them until you start talking and you're like, no, it wasn't just me. It's not just them. There is a collective amount of people who've gone through these struggles and are continuing to go through these struggles. So I think doing it in a group setting and in a safe space and container and shedding, putting light to the dark things is the best. And I think healing is better done in a group setting. Plus, I did it on my own for many, many years and it sucked. I don't want anybody else to have to, yeah, it's just not, it's not pleasant and it's a lot of fighting with your own demons. And there's just an easier way. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here for those, these 3 days. Feel free to reach out, watch the replays. Um, well, not forever because eventually the replays will go away. Um, but yeah, no, I'm like I said, I'm here, whatever. And even if this is a not right now, or maybe I am not the right fit for you, I encourage you to please continue to do this work, whether it's on your own with somebody else, and don't let these cycles repeat. Um, One thing that I constantly have to remind myself of personally is I'm not my past. I'm not my parents. I'm not who I was. I'm not what I did. It's how I choose to live my life right now. And that's all I got for you. So hopefully we will chat soon and take care, everyone.